Okay, so we're back after I got kicked out. But now we want to talk about what does it look like when you do resolve a situation with a dangerous person? Is it possible to resolve a situation with a dangerous person? And then like the key steps that people need to take to do that. And so I know a lot of people come to us with a situation where somebody feels physically dangerous or their job is at risk and it really is like they're really afraid and they don't believe that it's possible to solve the problem.
No.
Right. And so what have you, I mean, I know we had one situation recently where a woman was being contacted. She was contacted like 150 times in 1 month by this person who was stalking her. And then we got involved, and I think it took like a week or two. And then now there's no contact between them. And so we've seen that be able to be really successful and then navigate situations like the issue with the law enforcement officer about how to protect the client, but still enforce their legal rights and then teach them the skills that they need to do that in the future if something happens again. But I was thinking about this. So last night, my neighbor was talking about how she feels like our neighborhood is really dangerous right now and that everywhere she goes, she runs into dangerous people. And so she's going to move and she's going to leave her house and she's like going to, I don't know what she's planning to do, but I was thinking about it and I was thinking, I just assume that there are dangerous people
Yeah.
kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that's just my baseline assumption. And then I kind of assume that that's how life is supposed to be. Like that's sort of how humanity is. What do you think about and maybe it's helpful for us to share, like you've had experiences with dangerous people. I have too. So maybe like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I've had several experiences with dangerous people. I mean, like I was in the military, so I, besides that sort of an aspect, I had two experiences with people in the military. One where I didn't know someone was stalking me, and actually the military found out that they were. He actually like lived in an apartment across from me and like was watching me at night. And then I had a person that stalked me to my parents' house and actually tried to kill me. And um, and in both of those situations, I wasn't able to take care of it like in real time. I had to take care of the danger after it happened,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't have like the one I didn't know about, and the other one I didn't have the tools that I have now to deal with them, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But I had to learn how to straddle like there are dangerous people in the world, and I get to go out into the world and be powerful,
Yeah.
because for me, it was like if I went around and I was like, there are dangerous people everywhere, that would be really consuming without knowing I had power and I had choices.
Right. I mean, I think that that is the interesting thing is like watching our clients when we work with them like change from that place that my neighbor is in of like, if there's a dangerous person, it means I have to leave
Yes.
to the place where they're like, if there's a dangerous person here, it's a good thing I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Because like now I think with our clients, I'm like, thank God I've gone through this. I know how to get you through this. I know how
Yeah.
to help you. I know that I will never be in that type of situation again where I feel helpless.
Yeah. 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 And I think that to me, like the things that we've seen people do and the breakthroughs that we've seen people have of really being able to show up and take up more space, not
Right.
less space when
Mhm.
there's a dangerous person involved, I think is like pretty remarkable. And then the other thing I think is that one of the struggles that I see people have with this, like one of the challenges is the thing that my neighbor was saying that she was doing is she sees people who don't have homes, people who are camping out on the bike path by our neighborhood. and she assumes that they are dangerous, and then she engages with them and tells them to leave and like gets in their face about it, and it creates kind of a dangerous situation for her. Like she ends up in a dangerous situation, and not to say that she's done something wrong or that it's her fault if someone is breaking into her house or something like that. Like it's never our fault. Somebody else's behavior is never in our control. But I can see like a lot of people when they encounter a dangerous person think if they push back or are defend themselves or push back against the dangerous person, then it's gonna make them safe. And it's an interesting hurdle that people have of learning how to engage in a way that does create safety, and when the appropriate times to engage and not engage are. I just have been thinking about this with, I think it can be tricky, and we both had to learn it, right? Like we literally had to learn instruction on it because we were like, I don't know how to do this.
Not know how to do this. Like there was no course. Thank you.
I did not get taught in college how to handle a stalker. What do you do if you're kidnapped? I did not get taught that.
Right?
Yeah. And yeah, so I think that it ends up being, and then my experience is I've had kind of both, and we probably have both sides of the experience where you either feel like you're in physical danger. I know I had a experience when I was in Ukraine, when I was in Peace Corps, and my friend and I got back on an empty bus after the bus drivers guaranteed us they were gonna drive. I don't know. It was one of those decisions where when the doors closed, we were like, this was a terrible choice. Like, don't get back on the bus in a dark, strange city when the bus driver and they like drove us out to the country, and like my friend was like gathering weapons around. They were like, you girls like to party, right? But then like in that scenario, we actually ended up being safe. Like nothing happened to us, and we made it pretty clear that if something happened to us, something was going to happen to them.
Yeah.
And they ended up driving us back into town. They like got gas and drove us back to my friend's apartment. And it ended up being okay, but like and then I've had the other experiences of feeling really afraid at work, like afraid I'm going to lose my job if I don't comply with things I disagree with, things like that. So I think that like the hurdle for me really was that I was never taught how to do it.
Totally.
And I was taught to second guess myself. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, sorry. I didn't mean to. And one of the things that I think about a lot is, and this is just like females and people that I, identify as females and present as females, politeness, right?
Yeah.
Politeness. You think politeness will get you out of any sort of situation. And that's another way of being defensive. Like we don't think of politeness as a defense, but it is a defense.
Yeah.
In a lot of situations.
Yeah.
A lot of our clients were very polite for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then
but we also think politeness means second guessing ourselves too, right?
Yes.
Believing that we're wrong.
Yes.
And there's so much motivation for us to do that, like we were talking about. So like if we're wrong, then we're safe.
Yeah.
Like, so I think the most key thing, we want to talk about like solutions to this. And to me, the most key thing that I did was I talked about my situations. Like I always talked about it, and I didn't talk about it from a place. I had to get to a place of knowing that people everywhere have these experiences. And it doesn't mean there's something wrong with me if I've encountered a dangerous person, right? And I talk about it and find solutions, and then like listen to my instincts about when solutions are available, who to trust, and trust myself, like come back to myself about that.
Yeah. Because we're always like our best generator of ideas.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember like when I considered that my stalking lasted for like 8 years because my stalker was still dictating my decisions.
Yeah.
And the moment that like it changed was and this is literally the thought that I had. I was like, if he's going to kill me, he's going to kill me, but I'm done.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, okay, so let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Yeah. Then you could be free and you could come back to yourself. You're like living this slave life,
Right.
I did the exact same thing in my job. I was like, they're going to fire me. They're going to fire me. They're going to fire me. Do what they say, try to make them happy, or they're going to fire you, like comply with the harassment. They're going to fire you. And then one day I was like, okay, so let's just do this. I'm going to show up. I'm going to serve my clients 1,000%. I'm going to do the best job I can do. And I'm going to report illegal activity that I see and oppose it. And then if they fire me, then that's probably a good thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's probably something better.
There's definitely something better.
Yeah.
And like, I think about probably dying would have been better. Because the life that I was living, right, was just
like, life.
Not life.
I mean, I don't like to make light of that, but we are all going to die, you know? We're all going to leave jobs. And the thing that we do, I think, is quit on ourselves ahead of time, quit on our lives ahead of time, live these suicide lives that are like not okay.
Right.
And like, we buy into this idea that there aren't solutions, that there's no hope. And I just think that is the most poisonous idea that we could ever have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you like, it just shuts everything down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like hopelessness.
And you don't even, because a lot of times when we're being polite, it's because we want other people to like us because we think that will be safer, right? If other people are happy.
Right.
They're not happy anyway.
They're not happy anyway.
They don't like us anyway. It doesn't work.
No, in the history of the world has never worked.
No. So we're going to create some new content in our cultural health program for people who are dealing with dangerous people. We're obviously not threat assessment experts, but, well, you may be. It's semi-threat assessment expert with your military background. But we have worked with threat assessment experts, and we've done a lot of threat assessment research. And sometimes when a case warrants it, we bring in a threat assessment expert or outside help to make sure that people are safe. We generally don't need to do that when you're worried about getting fired, when that's the fear. But if there's physical danger, then we have some resources that we use. And I think for us, for me at least, the main message that I want people to hear is that you do not have to feel afraid all day, and you do not have to have a dangerous person dictate how you show up in your life and what you do with your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And mine is like, you know best what's going on with you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to qualify that to anybody else.
No. And I think like the things that we did, I think, was we believed there was potentially a solution.
Yeah.
And we like were open to the possibility that we could trust ourselves.
Yeah.
Not 100% there. Like, that I got help. And then we got help. Like, I think that it is worth getting help. And so we do that in the cultural health training program. We help people with issues like this. We, a lot of times what we do with a dangerous person, sometimes at least, is we send a cease and desist letter, like a formal notice to stop dangerous contact. And then we help people navigate how to feel safe, how to create safety in their life.
Yeah.
And if the idea of trusting yourself sounds too baffling, like, we help with that too.
We have tons of help for you.
Yeah. So we're at erisresolution.com, ERIS resolution.com, and you can schedule a confidential consultation with us there, or just reach out to us on social media if that's more comfortable. Everything that we do is confidential, so you don't have to worry about, I don't know, your husband finding out or your boss finding out or anything like that. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for talking today, Rebecca.
Thanks. It's nice.
Yes. Thanks.